Let me personally invite you to the Women Getting Visible show and conference October 10th through 12th in Washington, D.C. We'll kick off Friday night with our VIP reception. Saturday, we'll have powerful keynote speakers, incredible workshops, and networking opportunities. After the Back to Me session, you'll walk away with confidence on Sunday. Join us and get your visibility journey energized.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this impromptu live. I'm Christina of Women Getting Visible, and I have the amazing Lisa Quait with me. We are at her house in the UK. Tell us where we are exactly.
So we are in St Albans in Hertfordshire, so about 25 minutes from London on the fast train. And you kindly agreed to come here, and we've just recorded a podcast where you've appeared on my Real Women's Stories podcast, and we thought we would record you interviewing me. And because of some technical difficulties, we decided to go live.
We are going live. Here we are.
Here we are. So it's you know, I think it's an interesting concept, because you turned around to me and said, well, should we go live? And I was like, hell yeah, why not? Because we're women getting visible, right? And let's be visible and let's be authentic and let's just do it, because we were having some technical issues. So yeah, I'm really excited. I've never been live before.
And here we are, visible. So hello, good morning to everyone. It is 6:45 a.m. on the East Coast for anybody who's catching us now. If you're catching us later, thank you for joining. So I'm going to ask you the first question that I love to ask everybody.
Okay.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being least visible to 10 being extremely visible, where do you see yourself on the visibility scale?
Oh, okay. So for me, I feel that I'm an 8, because I have completely become visible in the last 12 months. And I've stepped into a space which I knew was always waiting for me, but I just had to find it. So I would definitely say an 8. However, that's in the UK. And I think by me joining you, I'm hoping to go even more global with my visibility. There is some work to do. There is definitely some work to do. But the 8 to the 10, I think for me, there's a lot of steps to get there. So the 8 is me feeling empowered. That's my number. I didn't want to say a lower number, because I feel that if I say a lower number, then I'll believe that lower number. So in my head, I'm using the 8 as I'm there, I'm doing it, I'm visible. But the 8 to the 10 probably has a few more steps that I would like to jump over in order to get to that 10.
I absolutely love that, because you just said it. What you say, you're telling yourself. So by being at an 8, you are at an 8. Absolutely, 100%. I love that. And I love bringing you into the States to everybody that I know as well, because Lisa is also going to be one of the sponsors for the Women Getting Visible show this October in Washington, D.C. Unfortunately, she can't be with us at that time because she has her own retreat going on that weekend. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, so I'm basically doing a retreat. It's a very, very intimate number of people that are coming to my home in Spain, and it's going to take them on a journey, which will be quite transformational. So it's anybody who wants to make a change, they don't know what that change is, and we're going to uncover the challenges we face when we go through any change in our life. Now, it may be a change with a relationship, it may be a change with a career, it may just be a change with who we are and who we want to become. But it's a small community, and it's a very, very safe space. And that's what I like to create, a safe space where women can come together, share their stories, share their challenges, and together we will go through a program and experience. And I'm sure there's going to be lots of different emotions that we're all going to go through. But I have had so many lived experiences of changes that I've been through, that really I am that sort of, the support system to help guide these women through the changes, but together we will create an amazing plan for them to move forward. They'll have a community where once they leave Spain and go home, that they have a WhatsApp group to talk to people as well. So, every day we might be having that self-doubt. Every day we might have a challenge that we face, that a conversation didn't go the way that we expected it to go. But you have a safe community where you can share that. Because I think often, especially in our midlives, we tend not to reach out to our friends. We tend to sort of sit back and say, I'm the strong one. People don't want to hear my story. People don't want to hear my worries, my emotions. So this is about creating that safety net for them.
And it's so interesting because you've talked about part of your journey is your own visibility journey, because I've met Lisa and we've shared some things together. Tell us about why you decided now is the time for you to get more visible.
When my husband was nearing his midlife, 50 for us, I mean, midlife, I think it really starts from 40s. He was getting quite down and depressed, and what's life going to look like? And it got me thinking about my life and what I was going to do. And we had this dream of going to Spain and retiring there. But I know myself, and I can't not do anything. And I suddenly thought, wait a minute, this is my time where I feel confident and comfortable enough to start sharing my story, my experiences, and sharing my learnings. And that really was the pinnacle moment for me. It was that real epiphany of, what on earth have I been waiting for? Why have I been waiting to sit in the shadows and not really become the true version of who I've always wanted to be from the age of 20 years old? And it made me realize, I kept thinking in my life, there's a reason why these experiences are happening to me, because they're all learnings. It's, I've always been in a growth mindset. Life is about learning, tragedy, pain, whatever you go through. But now I can talk about it. I can talk about it confidently, with clarity. And I know that there are other women who have been through similar challenges in their lives, maybe not the same story, but the same feelings and emotions. I lost myself during my menopausal, my perimenopausal era. I'm now in my menopause. And, that helped me realize when I got through the other end, oh my God, I've got so much resilience. I'm so strong. And where has my energy come from? I feel like I've completely evolved into the person that I am now. And this is my time to become visible. Hence the reason why I dress how I want to dress now. I wear bright colours. I wear sparkle. If I wear bright lipstick, I feel proud. If I'm wearing some sparkly boots, when you met me and I was wearing them, hell yeah, I want to be noticed, because then I can connect with people and I have a story.
And you get more visible just like that. Like today, she picked me up on the green and I said, there's Lisa. I know she's coming for me. And what's so fun about all of that is it becomes a conversation piece as well, because it's like, oh, who are you? I want to know more about what you do. So tell us a little bit more about your podcast, Real Women's Stories, because it's really about digging in a little bit deeper than just, oh, this is what I do, but who am I?
Yeah, they're not surface conversations. I created this snug. Originally, it was for me and my husband to get away and to have some space. And when we talked about starting the podcast, do we go in a studio? What do we do? And I thought, no, I really love feeling relaxed. This is a really nice, safe space. And that's what I create for women to come on my podcast, to share their stories. And this isn't about being victimized. This is about sharing a challenge. It may be triggering to go back to relive that moment, but all of my guests have come out the other side or are coming out the other side. So this is about them sharing their personal journeys, the challenges that they've been through, vulnerably, openly, so that the community can hear that it's okay. it's okay to talk about our feelings and emotions. It's okay that we might have had a breakdown, or our marriage has gone wrong, or that we just weren't in a happy space, or that we've had some real hard trauma in our lives. But the resilience and the strength that we've learned has got us through the other end. So it just creates a space for stories to be shared so that other women can think, that's me. I can hear that. I can hear that voice, and it feels like it's my voice. And I might be in that moment in that time, but there is hope that I can get out of it. And there is a community of real women with real stories similar to mine that will help me get through that.
And I hear the word vulnerability, which I don't want to say is the opposite of visibility, but when we're in that vulnerable place, we want to hide. We don't want anybody to know that we're sick, we're going through a divorce, we're having problems at home, we're having problems at work, we're having problems at all. But we feel so vulnerable. What is an advice that you give to people to say, you know what? This is something we can do to get out of that position. It feels icky.
Sticky and you
Yeah.
feel stuck. So I coach as well. So I deliver 2 episodes per week. So I interview a guest about their story, and there are challenges that come up. And then I look at certain challenges that they've been through. And then I do a coaching episode. I deliver a coaching episode, which is completely complimentary. And I think it's about pinpointing those challenges and working out some strategies on how we can get through that. So it may well be your mindset. It may be stepping forward and having that difficult conversation with somebody that you don't want to have. It's about not feeling guilty about making a choice or a decision that you're going to make. And that's the work I do with my coaching. So I guide people through, I support them, I give them tools to say, look, I know it seems scary that you need to get through this, but you can get through it because other people have. And yes, we are all individual, but it's that, how can you work out for yourself? How are you going to navigate it? And let's look at things that you've done in your life, because I can guarantee you from when we were kids, we've been through situations which may have created the stories in our head that tells us that we're not good enough, that tells us that we can't do it. But actually, if you look back on those situations, and they might be small, they may not be dramatic, but you had the strength in you to navigate that. And it's about creating a step by step, small, tiny steps. Then all of a sudden you see things changing. And that's the work I do with my clients.
Which is beautiful. And, it's so interesting. Even the word guilt popped up, and even taking care of ourselves. Sometimes we feel guilty about taking those moments to take care of ourselves. How do you help someone through that of saying it's okay?
Oh, that's a question. I mean, in my mind, I think we all know that unless we're okay, we can't possibly make sure everyone else is okay. And some of the things that we have to do will affect people around us. So I would always say, look at yourself first, because if you're okay, you know that the people around you, the way that you're going to approach a conversation, a situation, handle a conflict, even if it's in a business environment, if it's at home in a personal situation, that as long as you are calm and balanced, you can get through that. So it's always about reflecting on how we feel, and it's not selfish, because unless you know who you are, you know who you want to be, and you know that you are well, healthy, and you have clarity and space in your mind, you have the confidence to move forward.
And I think you said another piece that's important that goes with that is, not only are you doing this on your own, because we have to do the work, because nobody can do that work for us. But then as you're doing that work, not only do they have you, they have a community that they can say, I need a little help. I need to lean on somebody a little bit as well. And I think that's such an important piece of what you offer, is to have that community.
Absolutely. We all talk about finding our tribe, okay? And it's, I, I'll go back and remember that at the depths of despair, when I first got together with my husband, who was a widow, and I had to blend a family of my daughter, who was very, very young, and his two children who had lost their mum. And at times, I didn't know how I was going to cope. And what I did was I knocked on my neighbour's door. And now I had moved out of my area. I wasn't living in my local area. I moved over to Essex, where Adam was living. And there weren't that many neighbours there. But I remember seeing a woman across the road, and she would often wave to me. And one day I knocked on her door and I said, "Can I just come in for a cup of tea? And I just need some help, because I don't know what to do here. I'm desperate to make this work, but right here, right now, I can't go back into that house." And it was about reaching out and asking for help. And that was my community. That's how you build community, by having conversations, by saying, "Hey, I'm in trouble here. I need some help." And it's not a weakness, it is so strong. And that's what I realized. It's strong to say, "Hey guys, I need some help right now." And then I started to build a community around me with other people in the area who I'm still friends with now, although I've moved to Hertfordshire. And even when we moved here, I had situations with the kids where I couldn't handle it, and I was working. And, I thought, if I'm not okay, how can I walk back into that house and be the strong mum that these kids need me to be right now? And then how can I know that I can, leave them to go to school and go off to work and show up in a boardroom and deliver my sales pitch or my presentation? So by having a community around me, that safety net, I think that's probably what inspired me to create community for other people.
That is just brilliant. And so many times we as women think we can do it all. We try to tough it out with everything without asking help. So I think that's an important lesson right there, is it's okay to ask for help, because we all need it. Not just sometimes, but we need it a lot more than we say we need it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a beautiful, beautiful piece that you have to offer.
And I think that's also being visible. I could have hidden in this despair and in this heartache on my own, or I could have become visible and showed somebody else what I was going through and sharing that experience. So I think what you're doing with, your crusade of, that women should become visible, it doesn't just mean in front of the camera. It doesn't just mean out on stages speaking. It's within our own lives. And then I became visible to my children, to be a strong woman, to say, "You know what, guys, I know we're all going through hell at the moment because we're trying to understand each other, but I'm visible as your parent, as your stepmom, as whatever you want to look at me as, but I'm a woman in this house and I'm not going anywhere, and we're going to work this out together." So there are different ways that you can be visible in your life.
And I love that, because that it absolutely speaks to what we're trying to do, because we need to show up for ourselves and show up for our families before we can show up in the rest of the world.
100%, 100%. It's the life experiences that we've had that can help us move forward and become more visible. But we got to dig deep, and sometimes it does hurt. I'm able to talk about this now. I wasn't ready to talk about it then, because we were all living in it, we were all breathing in it, and my kids know that I openly talk about what's happened to us as a family, because it's important. For every woman that shows up in work, in the workplace, in the office, for any entrepreneur, solopreneur, businesswoman, CEO, you've gone through life experiences. You've developed those skills to become, resilient. And if you're not feeling resilient right now, and anyone's watching this, just go back and dig deep, because somewhere in your life, you have become visible. You have found community. You found resilience. You found strength, and you have good intuition.
Wow. And I listen to you and I can feel the strength that you have now. What's next for you? What's coming up in the world of Lisa?
So we are trying to take the podcast to the next level. We're becoming far more visible on YouTube. My intention is to create, actually to dip into the 20-year-old year group, because my kids are in that year group. And I think as midlife women, we are mums. And I really feel that that generation is struggling somewhat. So part of what I would like to do is offer scholarships to young people leaving university so they can have 6 months worth of complimentary coaching. So for every one-to-one woman I coach in their midlife, I will put a proportion of that, if money profit earned, into the younger generation. So there will be applications made to me, so that obviously I can only take so many on within each cohort. And for those that don't get that sponsorship or scholarship, I'm going to be opening up and creating a membership that is going to be very cost effective. I ask my kids, look, if you had someone that could guide you through your life, because quite frankly, we don't want to talk to our parents. I'm a coach, but my kids, yes, I can help them, but they're like, yeah, mum, shut up. They don't want to listen to me. And I know that of, kids.
We've been there.
But their friends will come and ask me questions. So it's that, having that empathy and creating a safe space for a membership where I will deliver 2 workshops per month, and it will be £25 a month for each of those people to join that membership. So it's affordable for them. We all drink coffee now, right? A cup of coffee is what, £3? So if you save up a week of coffee or 2 weeks of coffee, you can have a month of coaching in your 20-something-year-olds, and in your 20s. And these young adults, if we can empower them in their 20s, can you imagine what they're going to be doing when they get to 40 and 50? Because I only found this space when I turned 50. Other people are finding it in their 40s. But what if you were this confident? What if you were this visible? What if you were this resilient in your 20s? What could you achieve in your life?
Which is the wonderful question, because I think about both of us who are powerhouses in what we're doing now with the voices and the messaging that we have. If we would have had that confidence in our 20s, we're still the same person that we were, but we have this different uplift now. And the fact that we can share that with others is incredible.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think it goes through generations as well. So, so I'm embracing, coaching women, 40, 50, 60-year-olds, but also looking at the 20-year-old. And I, Mel Robbins talks about it as well. She talks about the 20 decade being the hardest decade. I'm speaking to my kids and saying, what challenges have you got now? I don't know what to do with my life. I don't really know what I'm meant to be doing. Some people are working, some people are high flying their jobs, some people are traveling, but I'm actually a bit lost and I don't even know what to do. Your 20s, you're trying to sort out who you are, where you're going in your life, because by the time you're 30, society tells us you need to be settling down, buying a house, getting married, having children. Really? Is that really what we should be doing? I think every person is individual, and listen to yourself. I thought what was quite interesting, I did a complimentary promotional marketing campaign in offices around locally, and people could come to me for complimentary coaching sessions. And I had a group of 20-something-year-olds coming to me, and we were doing like half an hour slots. Most of those young adults were worried about what their parents would think, because they were trying to live up to their parents' expectations of what society was telling them to do. And my question to them was, what is the one thing you've been holding off doing that you really want to do? And that sparked off so many emotions. And it was like, well, my parents say that I've got to have this job, but really what I want to do is move to the country and just paint and be an artist. And I would be like, well, what's holding you back? Well, I'm scared of what my parents will think. Have you had that conversation with them? No. Why? Because I'm scared that they're not going to love me anymore. I'm like, I'm a mum. Like, if my kids told me that they were unhappy in what they were doing, let's talk about it. Let's work it out together. But these kids are so afraid, because I know what I was like as when I was younger, and maybe that's, I went to drama school and then I just started working in the corporate world because that's what was expected of me. And I don't think anyone really believed in me, and I never really believed in myself. Well, what if we did believe in ourselves? What if we did go to our parents and say, this is what I really want to do? Because your 20s is about testing the waters. It's the time to make mistakes. It's the time to mess up, because you can't do that in later life. But if we try and conform now and we don't make those mistakes and we don't take those risks, then what happens? We end up making wrong choices in our later lives, and we end up being miserable.
Yeah. And it's interesting because it just brings us back to guilt. Dealing with that guilt, getting over it, to say, you know what, this is my life. This is something I can do now, because those life experiences, and the more that we have them early on, the better that we become. And we don't have to wait until midlife to have those lessons to say, hey, it's time to shine now. Get out there and do it. I love your messaging and I love what you're doing. How can we tell our viewers and listeners to find you?
So I have a website, which is realwomen.coach. So I am the Real Woman Coach. That is my kind of brand that I've created, because I feel that I'm real. My podcast is Real Women's Stories with Lisa Quait. So if anybody wants to follow, we're on all the platforms. We're on Apple, Spotify and YouTube. And if you're on Instagram, I'm under Lisa Quait, and also Facebook and LinkedIn. So I'm on all of the social media platforms, and my email address is lisa@realwoman.coach. I would love to have a conversation with anybody that's listening to this who may be going through a challenging situation. For me, it's all about conversations. There is no pressure. I never hard sell anyone, because I don't believe in that. The work I do comes from my heart, and I'm passionate about it. So if any of what we've been discussing today hits a note, then you can always reach out to me. We can have a conversation, just see where you're at in life. And it may not be now that you might not want coaching, but you might listen to the podcast, you might learn something. Listen to my complimentary coaching podcast episodes, because they might help you as well.
Fantastic. So realwomen.coach.
Realwomen.coach.
Fantastic. Well, that's it for today, my friends. Thank you, Lisa, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Well, me joining you here.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And how amazing that we did this live as well.
Ta-da! Fantastic. I'm so excited. And I am going to say I would love to have you back for some more conversations about visibility and real women.
I would absolutely love to. And hopefully next time in the US.
Ooh, and there we go. So thank you, my friends, for joining. Oh, we got a thumbs up there. All right. Until next time, we'll see you. Thank you so much for joining today.
Let me personally invite you to the Women Getting Visible show and conference October 10th through 12th in Washington, D.C. We'll kick off Friday night with our VIP reception. Saturday, we'll have powerful keynote speakers, incredible workshops, and networking opportunities. After the Back to Me session, you'll walk away with confidence on Sunday. Join us and get your